took a test, and I'm about to look at it. Today is a beta day. It is 9 days post-transfer. I'm so nervous. I'm like, praying for a miracle. Negative. No, it's negative. I thought I saw maybe a tiny line. Oh, didn't work. I guess I'll wait until I hear from my nurse about the results, but it didn't work. I knew after Saturday, when I kind of felt my symptoms starting to taper off, that something wasn't right. I did feel implantation, so I know that they implanted. I just think that they stopped growing. Negative. So I don't know what's next for me. Those are our last 2 embryos. I just don't know if I have it in me to keep going. So this may be the end of my journey. I don't know yet. This sucks, y'all. This sucks so much. I was so sure, being on Easter Sunday, even like my due date, I calculated was like around Christmas, the day after Christmas. So it was like the perfect setup, you know, for a miracle. But I guess it just still isn't my time. Hey guys. So if you watched the last clip, or you saw in the last clip, the pregnancy test was negative and the beta confirmed that it was negative. So we are not pregnant. The transfer was not successful. So this is our 3rd failed or unsuccessful transfer. So in my last video, I did share that I was experiencing what I felt like was implantation. I still believe that the embryos implanted. I just think that they stopped growing Saturday, like the day after. So that last video was a Friday clip, and that next day was Saturday, and that's when I started to feel the symptoms taper off. So that's kind of like when I knew, like, or started to kind of question. And then Sunday was the same thing. I didn't really feel any symptoms and was just starting to wonder and doubt that it worked, or that it was, you know, that the embryos continued to grow. So we did, like I said, I tested at home, as you saw, and it was negative. And while like I was like just completely shocked, because I'm like, I felt all the symptoms, like I said, I kind of knew, but then also like in the moment of like the sadness and the shock of it all, I remember like the Holy Spirit spoke to me and he said, remember when I told you, okay, so back up. So back in 2020, when we first started IVF treatment, like we had just started IVF, I think we were or about to start, And at the time, like, I felt like, I don't know if at the time I was like, I thought it was just me, but I feel like the Holy Spirit was like, basically said to me, what if this is not the doctor that's going to help you all get pregnant? And that was it. And I was like, well, who else is it? You know, what do you mean? But I put that out of my mind. I just didn't think on it or dwell on it. So fast forward to the morning that I saw that the test was negative, and the Lord was like, remember when I told you that this was not the doctor that's going to help you get pregnant? And by any means, like, this previous doctor was the one, or the clinic where the embryos were created. So in that moment, I just felt okay. Like, I felt peace. I felt okay with the fact that I was not pregnant, that it was negative, because I just kind of felt like God told me, you know, years ago, that this doctor was not going to have any hand in you all getting pregnant. Didn't know why at the time, but after a lot of the stuff that we've been through, now it makes sense. So I brought Joe here because I wanted to, some of the people commented like they liked Joe's perspective, and it's just as much his journey as it is mine, and he hasn't been in a video in a while, so I just wanted you all to just kind of hear his perspective, and yeah, just kind of see what his thoughts are. So how are you feeling? Like, how did you feel when you saw that
Thank you.
that it was negative? You're welcome. Like, what was your
you know, I don't know. Definitely, you know, kind of getting numb.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's like you kind of feel like you're in this spin cycle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you're going through it again. You know that you're familiar with this.
Mm-hmm.
You know the feelings, or at least the things that causes you to have these feelings is going to come at a certain time. And you're just kind of like, oh, again, you know.
Yeah.
So you know, Sherelle brought, you know, some very interesting, you know, thoughts. And that was that I kind of felt a relief, because I don't think it's as bad as it felt or looked from the outside, right? I don't think we were supposed to have any connection to this previous doctor, and you know, that kind of confirmed it to me, because our current doctor, who I think is wonderful, pretty much was just as confused as we are, because everything leading up to that point
was perfect.
Yeah. And the one thing that wasn't attributed for is the embryos, which came from the previous doctor. That wasn't a part of the testing and configuring and making sure it was good. Just my wife. So you know, I was relieved. And kind of like happy that that's a chapter we can close.
Yeah. So, and even like to continue with that, you know, my doctor felt like the last, like, transfer number 4 should have worked, because we did the surgery, the fibroids were removed, the uterine cavity was perfect, my lining was perfect, even like all the testing and stuff that I've done, because people always be asking me, you know, do testing. Like, my doctor has done so much testing, like, literally there's no more blood to take. You know, that's how I feel. Like, she's done so much testing, and she, you know, double and triple checks everything. So she was just kind of, after that last transfer wasn't successful, all 3 of us were like questioning the embryos, because this is now like, so this batch of embryos, which were made with the donor egg, plus my 1 embryo that I had before this is now 6 embryos that didn't take. You know what I mean? The first 2 were miscarriages, but the last 3, they didn't take. So now it's like,
same source.
Yeah. So it's now like, okay. And then with that, and then with some of the research my doctor did, I don't want to go into details about that, but some of the research she did, and even like kind of talking to some other people,
read between the lines,
it just led us to to just kind of question, you know what I mean, the embryos, and, you know, just the quality of care. We'll just leave it at that. So with that being said, you know, the way that I looked at it is, immediately I was like, okay, this is God's protection. You know what I mean? Like, if this was supposed to happen, it would have happened 2-3 transfers ago. But obviously God is protecting us from something. We're not going to fight this. You know, we're going to just trust God, which is what we've been doing all this time. And I was led to a verse that I've been clinging to ever since. And I'm going to share it because I feel like that was the first thing that came to my mind. And it is Psalms 84, 11 through 12. And it's basically saying that God will withhold no good thing from those who walk upright. And I feel like we've been walking upright this entire time. Like, we've been doing everything God has asked us to do. We've been sharing our journey in multiple ways on multiple platforms. And everything that we've done on this journey was really in obedience to God. So I feel like if his word says that he's not going to withhold anything good, then obviously these transfers would not have resulted in something good. You know what I mean? So while it was very sad and it was like, dang, at the same time we were both like, okay, like now it's really in God's hands. Those are our last 2 embryos. We don't have any more on ice. We don't know what the next steps will be like, but we were like, okay, it's completely in God's hands. And then now we have decided, you know, that we're just going to take a break. We're going to take some time off, at the very least 6 months. Like, we want to take this whole summer to just focus on our mental health, our physical health, which is why I'm on this wellness journey. We just want to just take this time to just focus and let God tell us like what our next steps are. We're also exploring the possibility of me using my own eggs. My doctor even questioned that. She was like, why did after only 1 cycle we go to donor eggs? She was like, I didn't want to say that when I first met you, but that was in the back of my mind. So yeah, so now I'm doing some testing and stuff to see, you know, where my AMH level is, and where she was like, you know, I'm more so focused on the quality. So if we can take this time to improve the quality, then you know, that's where we are. So,
and the break is, to me, the most important part right now, because
yes,
you know, it's been stressful, and not just like simply the loss, but the whole process. And it's been like, oh, we messed up, let's try again as soon as we can. And it's like, you know, it's like constantly being cut and not letting the wound heal. You know, it's like, are we gonna, you know, take a break and just kind of, you know, pray and listen for God, and not pray, God, make it work. You know, I'm gonna try again. You know, and I kind of felt like we weren't putting ourselves in a position where we can really just kind of heal. But you know, it's all about, it's a balancing act. You know, I guess I'm saying as a husband, to not try to impose your will on your wife, right? To listen for God, you know, as you know, as a Christian man, I'm trying to, you know, let the Lord, you know, in my faith in the Lord, let that lead me, you know, on my decisions, you know, but also be considerate of my partner's equal rights to make her decisions, you know. So, you know, it's just been this balancing act, and the thing is, usually we come around to the same page. So I just was patient in the Lord, and literally just 1 attempt later, after asking for a break, she was like, we should take a break. And I'm like, you know, it's kind of like when you're choosing your food and you're like, we should go here. She's like, no, I don't want that. And then like an hour later, she's like, you know what, I want that. You know, it's like, yeah, you know, I agree with you. You know, it was your idea. I didn't think of that. You know, that's kind of how it is with this. So, you know, you know, we had to let God get us to a point where we're on the same page with that, you know. So,
and I had to go through that as well, because I remember, you know, you mentioned taking a break like last year. And I was like, no, you know, especially after my surgery, I was like, we got to strike while the iron is hot. We got to keep going. And then after the 4th transfer that failed, I was like, no, let's go. Let's go next month. So it's like I feel like you have because your desire is so strong, and you're like, you know, let's keep going. You get like a burst of energy. But at the same time, if you guys remember, in the previous videos where I'm like, there's a delay, and I just kept saying, I'm tired. God was like, I was listening. Like, this is your break.
Yeah.
You're tired, you're tired. And it's okay to, to take a break. It's okay to pause. And I think somewhere in the back of my mind, I was just thinking like taking a break or taking a pause is,
that's not giving up.
Yeah. But it's not. And even giving up, like, what is that? Like, I also feel like there's levels to that even. Like, giving up to me, like, even after you've tried so much, it's not really giving up. Like, you may stop or your journey may come to an end, but I'm even like trying to reframe that phrase, like giving up. But yeah, taking a break is necessary, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're just, and the way I look at it now is like, it's completely in God's hands. And I'm relieved with that, if that makes sense. Like, because I feel like, with us still having remaining embryos, I'm like, well, my doctor will always say, we can't get you pregnant unless we transfer. So it always, it always comes back on us. But now we don't have any more remaining embryos. Now we're dealing with, also still on the table, these diagnoses that I have of low AMH or diminished ovarian reserve. So now it's like completely in God's hands. Like, it's completely in his hands. We also, since Joe changed jobs, our fertility coverage is a little different. And even also, actually, with your last coverage, it wouldn't have covered like a full fresh round. It just, but anyway, that's neither here nor there.
I'm the IT assassin. I changed jobs like
really
3
does.
times in the past
He really does.
year,
If y'all remember, like a couple years ago, he was on a job where he was traveling a lot, and
That
then
sucked.
this job, the previous job, or last year's job, and now this year's job. So yeah.
It's always for more money though.
So it's always a good reason.
Wink, wink.
But yeah, so we say all this to say, like, we are in a really good space mentally, which is all thanks and glory to God, because the Sherelle a few years ago would not be okay. Like, oh my God, we don't have any more embryos. We got to start over. We don't have no money. Like, I'm not worried about any of that. At this point, like, everything that we've been through and the way that God has shown up each and every time, whether it's financially, whether now, like, it's the new doctor that we have, the support that we've gotten along the road, like, God has shown up each and every time with something that we needed. So I have no doubt that he's going to do that, and he's going to do exceedingly and abundantly. And that actually just kind of makes it a little more exciting, because now I really don't know what God's got. I really don't know what he's going to do. But
and there's some unexpected benefits to us taking a break, that I simply want to take a break from my mental health.
Yeah.
From my wife's mental health. But it turns out the doctor was like, oh, so you're taking a break? Well, because you want to change how we proceed, there's some things that we need to do in that time span, and we need a specific amount of time to make sure it's done correctly. So it's like, what we really always wanted could potentially be, happening because of us deciding to take a break. It's like God wants us to recover, maybe focus on ourselves, like you said, physical health, mental health, and, take care of some other things are falling in place too, which I won't speak on until she's ready.
Real estate.
There it is.
I've already shared that.
Oh,
with them.
okay.
So they know.
You guys are in. You guys are in the know.
They know.
And which will obviously put us in a better position to take care of the needs of a growing baby.
Right.
And the cost of because it's not cheap to take care of anything that needs to eat. So it'll be awesome when she accomplishes it, where she's very close. So, not to take your thunder here.
Oh, no, that's, you're good.
Sweet. I'm thankful, that we decided to do this, because it's been stressful, and it put me in a place where I felt like, I don't know, kind of like just, I guess, not happy, but I'm trying to be more descriptive. Just to say I feel so much better now that we both decided to take a break, especially with the doctor confirming how beneficial it would be to our process moving forward.
Yeah. It just feels like now. And another thing I want to say that we both were saying, like, even though we changed doctors last year, we, it was our fresh start. It never felt like a fresh start, because we were still connected to the previous doctor. still going over records, still like, oh, this didn't happen. They didn't tell you this.
Embryos.
Yeah, transferring the embryos, and they didn't tell you this, or they didn't do this, and the surgery to redo some stuff that wasn't done, or to address some things that weren't addressed. So it still felt like we were connected to the previous clinic, so it never felt like a fresh start. But I feel like now it truly feels like a fresh start. And we're very confident with our doctor. Just the fact that she went over and beyond. I mean, I guess it should be what you should do, but to us, because we didn't really experience this, but she's gone over and beyond to double and triple check to make sure she's the correct tests and things have been done, and the surgery was successful, and we're just thankful for her.
You ever seen that show House?
No, I never watched it.
So for those who might have seen it, this guy will do anything, everything to make sure all the tests were done to cover every avenue.
That makes sense.
There'll be these wild symptoms of something and nobody can diagnose it, and Pharaoh's going on. That's how I feel with this doctor. She goes all in, and for what might seem like a slog, constantly driving back and forth a long distance to this doctor, it doesn't. It's kind of exciting sometimes because she does so much, and her facility is nice and clean.
Yeah, and she was even like, if you need to seek another opinion, she was like, I know I'm your second opinion. She was like, I have a list of doctors that I would recommend to my own sister. Like, I can, we can still be part of your treatment if you decide to go to another doctor. Like, she was just, she was everything. Very transparent. She was like, I told her, like, I had actually already talked to another doctor while I was like still deciding if we were going to go with her. And her and that doctor, they both basically said a lot of the same stuff. So obviously with her being closer, the other doctor was in Atlanta, we decided to just stick with her.
3.5 hours is crazy.
Yeah. But she was like, even then, like, because I was like, the other doctor's in Atlanta, and she was like, if we do have to do the donor egg route again, they have a bigger pool and we can work with them. So just the fact that she's like, open to everything, like it just feels like she's really invested in helping us. And it's not like, oh, I'm the professional, I'm the specialist, you gotta stick with me. You know what I mean? Like, she's just very, whatever y'all need, I'm here for you.
Yep.
And that is everything that we need. And we feel good. We're in like I said, we're in a very good mental space. And right now, just because of everything that, I just feel like the toll that this journey takes on you physically and mentally. And while I have been taking care of my mental health, I feel like my physical health has suffered a lot on this journey. I've gained weight. They were saying like my iron is low, my magnesium is low. I was borderline pre-diabetic. I'm like, if I'm preparing myself and I'd say that I desire to carry my children, I need to make sure that I am in the best health that I can possibly be.
Make sure that's
yeah.
Because it's only going to get harder.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
So I want to do everything that I can in this downtime to make sure I'm pouring into my physical health and just my overall wellness, because there's certain parts of that have been neglected.
You
so
get your iron's low now.
Right.
Wait till something's sucking all the iron out your body.
Right. So
iron vampire.
Yeah. So we're in a good place. We definitely appreciate y'all's love and support and the prayers and the encouragement. It's been so helpful. But yeah, this is like the series finale. Or no, not even the series, the season finale.
Oh yeah, we come back.
We're coming back.
We've been renewed despite the writer's strike.
Yes.
We coming back.
This is like, our season finale, because this chapter or this season of our story is coming to an end, and we'll be starting a new chapter soon. And that's another thing, like, I'm open, like I've just kind of surrendered. Like, that's where I am, this place of surrender, and I'm open to whatever option to parenthood that God has for us. Like, I'm not putting God in a box. I'm not putting limits on God. if God decides it's going to be adoption, if he decides it's going to be surrogacy, if he decides it's going to be donor eggs, donor embryos.
You be open to adoption, huh?
Yeah.
First time I've heard about that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Whatever God has. Whatever it is. All I know is that he promised us children. Whatever he has, I'm open.
That's a good space to be in.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good space to be in.
Yeah. What about you? You're open to what God has?
I'm along for the ride. I'm along for the ride. I made a commitment, a vow to be her support, to, my goal is to help her achieve her dreams and the things that God has promised her. And I'm going to do that, whatever that looks like. And, I'm happy, you know. So, my face is itching. I'm so sorry. I've been scratching my face this whole video. It's like the middle of May, and it just, I hope our children don't have allergies. I hope they don't get early baldness, allergies. It's ridiculous. Or dry skin. Sorry, future child, if you're watching our series.
They may be somewhere in the middle, because I have super oily skin. And if you're super dry, they might have combination skin. But anywho,
it's related. I hope the kids don't suffer like I suffer. It's related.
But yeah, we're like I said, we're in a really good space mentally. And yeah, the journey is not over. It's just this season has come to an end. And maybe in the fall, that's when we'll begin the next season. Who knows?
What is this, Law and Order?
Who knows? Honestly, it's really up to God. I don't know. I'm not putting a time frame on it. I'm not setting a limit. It's whatever God.
I think that's the important thing. That's a good point. I think moving forward, we shouldn't impose our will on this situation. It's not about what we want or any time limit we feel we might be having, because God ultimately doesn't abide by these rules, right? It doesn't matter what doctors say when it comes to the health or age of your body, when it comes to caring or none of that stuff matters, because God is all powerful, right? So if we really believe that, the rush or the need to move forward, despite it might not be in the best situation or time, shouldn't matter, because we believe our God can do anything and is not limited by the human constraints we put on ourselves. So I think that's why this break is important, so we can realize that and really depend on him. Who knows? It might be 3 years from now and we have 5 kids. What do you know we can do that? But we took a break and we breathed, and God was like, I got you.
That's true.
Saying? You might have twins, and then, who knows?
Right.
So, or you might have, what was that, quintuplets? Who knows?
My God.
You should be big as hell.
You never know.
You never know.
And then what's also funny, and I'm just putting this out there because if it happens, and I'm going to refer back to this video, but I was like, what if I'm like that 0.001% chance of someone who gets pregnant naturally, despite me not having tubes?
You never know. You never know. God don't need tubes. He don't need no tubes. God is God. He just gonna be like, pow. Look, I don't know what happened. God's like, I already knew.
So yeah.
God had Jesus without even a man present. So he don't need no tubes. Why he need tubes when he was like Jesus? You're alive. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, if we truly believe that to be not only truth, but something that actually transpired, then why are we so concerned with these physical things when God was like, Jesus, boom, Mary, you're pregnant.
Yeah.
You didn't even have a man to contribute to that. So we shouldn't be worried about tubes or age or anything. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
If we believe that's something God promised for us.
Yeah.
Boom. That's a word.
Right.
Push past the snail.
Past the offering plate.
Come on now.
So yeah, we're
Can I get a witness up in here?
As you can see, the Gilberts, we're in a good place. We got the dogs down here too. They
I kept looking at them during the whole video.
They're
because
good.
it's storming. And I was like, are they okay? They get terrified.
They really do.
When the earth makes sounds.
Yeah.
You know.
So, anyway, we're gonna end the video here because my stomach is growling and Kava is calling my name. But yeah, so stay tuned. I'm gonna be sharing more of my wellness journey. Make sure you're following me on Instagram and TikTok because I share my little workouts and stuff there. But I'm gonna do some more in-depth stuff here and just kind of let you guys know what I'm doing and the meals that we're eating, all the things. Yeah,
we're gonna have a Kava kid, Kava child. They're gonna wake up, arugula.
Not arugula.
Some Kava, mama. We love Kava in this house.
I can't.
Kava and,
I can't.
and the Chicagos.
This is what I deal with. This is what I deal with.
We're gonna try and hand the baby some milk. Like, Kava. His first word gonna be Kava.
I'm over you. All right, y'all.
You love me.
Thanks for
future father of your children.
Tuning in. We love y'all. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Is that like the point? By point?
You could do boom. There we go. See y'all.
What up, though?
That was good.